What's going on? Welcome to another session of 5-Pillar Mobility. Today's focus is on the shoulders, and in particular, improving external rotation in the front rack. So let's start by assuming your position, lying flat on your back, face up. Take your attention on your breathing, becoming conscious of your breathing, the sensation of that breath coming in. Direct that air deep into that lower abdomen. Those nice diaphragmatic breaths. And breathe through the nose if you can. Let's take our attention into those shoulders. In these next few breaths, as you let go of that air, imagine letting go of any tension around those shoulders. Let those posterior delts get soft, those pecs, the traps. Feel the head and neck just sink into your mat. And keep your attention on your breath. Letting go of any stress you're carrying around those traps and neck. Staying in your happy place. Just enjoying the moment and being present. And letting your body find a state of calm. Take one more breath here. Slowly let go of that breath. And we'll start our attention on the tricep. So to that left tricep, let's take your lacrosse ball. We tend to like working the tricep in an overhead position. So if you move your elbow above the shoulder into an overhead, and just working the whole back side of that upper arm, looking for areas of tension. Search for what needs most attention, and then do some experimenting with how you're applying that pressure. You can experiment with how you're leveraging into it with your body weight, using your off arm to add a bit more pressure. Just adding enough pressure that we're getting tension relief, but not diving into pain. And just be sensitive to how your body is responding to that pressure. This is meant to be progressive, so as you work your way through the program, you can start to be a little more aggressive with how much pressure you apply, just always being in tune with how your body is responding to that pressure. Let's take one more breath here. Slowly let go of that breath. And take your attention to that right side. So let's pan through that right tricep. Look for what's carrying tension in it. It may be the same area, maybe completely different. Do your diligence. Look for what's most restrictive. Feels like it's either knotted or not moving as well as the rest of the tissue. And then settle into your stimulus. Experiment with how you're applying that pressure and the angle, how you're leveraging into it, and how much pressure we're applying. And again, being in tune with how your body's responding to that pressure. If we're going so hard that adjacent tissues are starting to tighten up, we're going a little too aggressively. We want to keep that pressure and that stimulus localized to that tricep. And that said, we want everything around it to stay passive. So if you've settled into your stimulus, take your attention into relaxing through the rest of your body, through the muscles in your face and your brow. Let that lower body go limp. Let's take one more breath here. Take your time letting go of that breath. And we'll move into that left lat. The lat is like your wing muscle that sits around the backside of your ribs. It's a big muscle, can carry tension in a lot of spots. A lot of people tend to carry the most tension in the lat around the armpit, shoulder blade. But to really understand it, you need to do some searching. This may look very different for you than it does in the video, and that's okay. Be sensitive to what your body needs today. Since we are focusing on the front rack external rotation today, it can be helpful to keep your arm externally rotated, so keeping that thumb turned up into an overhead position can help you reproduce the position we're trying to improve and mobilize in that position of restriction. That helps us give an idea of how that lat responds in either helping or preventing us get into that position. Let's take one more breath here. Take your time sighing out that breath. And we'll shift gears into the right lat. Start by panning along the muscle. You might be tight in the exact same spot, it might be very different. Just do your searching. Do some experimenting with the angle, how you're leveraging into it, the amount of pressure we're applying. And once you've found that right stimulus, settle back to your breathing. Let your breath calm that lat into relaxing and opening up for better movement. Focus on staying nice and calm, relaxed, present. Focus on that breath. Let your breath calm your mind, and let your mind calm your body. Just mentally staying in your happy place. Doing your best to stay passive through that target tissue. And we'll take one more breath here. Take your time sighing out that breath. And move back into the left shoulder, do a little traction work. So we can do this a few ways. We're going to demonstrate the child's pose option. So if you get into a bowing position and just press your left wrist into the mat and lean in the opposite direction. We want a subtle pull and pressure release in the joint. So be sensitive to how the body's responding here. We don't want to get into pain. If anything tightens up, we're applying too much tension and traction force. We just want a subtle pressure release to let those surfaces glide a little better. Relaxing those muscles that are close into that shoulder joint. One more breath. Let's sigh out the breath and move into the right side. So pinning that right wrist to your mat using your left hand and gently leaning away in that bowing position. And again, being sensitive to how that right shoulder is responding. We want to release pressure in around the joint without producing any pain or feelings of instability. If you have a history of shoulder issues, just be sensitive to that. And follow how your body is guiding you through this. Body will always give you clues. And taking your attention back to your breath. Staying as passive as we can with those muscles through the shoulder, in around the joint itself. Let's take one more good breath here. Let that belly fill. Slowly let go. And grab your PVC pipe. and move into an external rotation to that left side. So if you start with that pipe, grab it like a hammer, then it's straight back out, outside your left arm, and pull it from underneath using the right arm. We just gently want to pull that left wrist out to the left side of your body to open up some external rotation, stretch into that shoulder joint. And obviously we're active using that right arm, but we really want to focus on getting passive and relaxing through that left arm as we apply this pressure and tension. In a few seconds, we'll gently get active by imagine arm wrestling into that pipe and internally rotating back to your midline with your left arm while resisting with your right. Now let's go ahead, starting nice and easy, activating through that shoulder, twisting against the stretch, slowly ramping up tension as we go. And big tension here for the last 3, 2, 1. And let's gently reverse that. Imagine pulling your wrist actively using your left arm to pull further into that stretch. Slowly ramping up tension as we go. Big tension here for the last 5, 3, 2, 1. Let go of all that breath. Let everything in that right side go as passive as you can. Take your attention back to your breathing. And just try to relax as best you can through that left shoulder. Taking your attention to that breath. We'll take one more breath here. We'll let go of that breath and we'll switch sides. So grabbing that pipe with your right hand, grabbing it like a hammer, and then flexing your bicep, letting that pipe come on the right side, so the outside of your right arm, grabbing that pipe from underneath with your left arm, and pull it across your body to open up that external rotation stretch on the right side. And then getting as passive as we can, relaxing through the lat, through the rotator cuff, getting as passive as we can around that whole upper body, finding depth by relaxing that right side and gently pulling with the left. And in a few seconds, we'll gently get active by resisting, rotating into that pipe and resisting with your off arm. And let's go ahead, starting nice and easy. Imagine arm wrestling that pipe towards your midline, slowly ramping up tension as we go. Let's apply some big tension here for the end. 3, 2, 1, and let's gently reverse that, actively pulling your wrist outwards, deeper into that stretch. Let's slowly ramp up that tension as we go. Big tension here for the end. 3, 2, 1. Let go of that breath. Get nice and passive and relaxed. You may find you're a little deeper into the stretch. If those shoulders are a little stubborn today and you're not, that's okay. Just be patient, we'll get there. Taking your attention back to your breathing, staying passive on that right side. Let's take one more breath here. You can set your pipes down and move into some handcuffs. So starting with your hands both behind your head and just extending those arms up and out into a Y and making yourself work, bending your arms back through the back side of your body, keeping your arms straight and finishing with your arms behind your back and then reversing. And this is at your own pace. The goal here is to trace the outer limits of your shoulders. So into external rotation, into extension, into flexion. And we're working to find stability. And the harder we work for these last couple reps here, the more benefit we tend to get. So let's really give yourself a good push into that end range at every position. Push into those corners. We'll finish up this last rep. And we'll move into a post. Let's find yourself a door frame. And you're going to wedge your forearm against the door frame with your arm bent around 90 degrees. And you're going to gently lean your torso downwards. So the idea is creating an external rotation angle on the shoulder using your torso. So your forearm will stay flush against that door frame. Your torso will lean forward to create a bit of a stretch. And you can experiment with the angle of your shoulder. You want to be close to 90 degrees. If you struggle with overhead, you can go a little more overhead. Just find the position that your body is telling you it needs today. And in a few seconds, we'll gently get active by pressing that wrist in against your door frame or the post or the wall. And let's go ahead. Imagine engaging in our arm wrestle in against that door frame, slowly ramping up tension, pressure on that wrist. Imagine rotating that wrist down. Let's finish strong. Big tension. 3, 2, 1. Let's attempt to reverse that. Push into your elbow and imagine pulling your wrist away from that object and ramping up tension as we go. Big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Nice and passive. Let that wrist fall against the post again. Find a nice passive stretch into that external rotation. Using your breath to help your body find calm. Let's take one more breath here. We'll slowly let go of that breath and we'll move into the right side. So putting that right forearm flush against that door frame or your upright or post or wall, whatever corner you have handy. Rotating your torso downwards, like you're bowing forwards to find that stretch. You should feel this pretty deep into the shoulder. It'll really depend on what your specific limitations are. And just be sensitive to how the shoulder is responding. We, again, don't want pain. We just want stretch. And just submitting to that stretch. Finding the right amount of stretch that your body needs today. And in a few seconds, we'll gently get active again by pressing into that wrist. Imagine rotating your forearm downwards with your torso. Let's go ahead, starting nice and easy. Slowly ramping up that tension as we go. Continually adding more tension towards the end. Big tension here to finish up. Really squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and reverse that. Squeeze through the posterior delts. Keep your wrist against the post. Pull that wrist away. Ramping up that tension as we go. Big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Get nice and passive. Relaxing into that position. Mentally finding calm. Going back to your happy place. And relaxing through that shoulder. We'll take one more breath here. Take your time sighing out that breath. And with that, we are fiend for the day. Thanks a lot for coming out. Hope those shoulders are feeling nice. Hope you benefited. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment on what you liked. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.